Welcome back to my channel. This is Jacqueline Edwards, and it is such a joy and privilege to have you back again. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel, like and share the content. You're free to ask questions. I'll do my best to answer those as well. So let's get started. In my last session, I touched on the importance of speaking up and how important it is to advocate not for ourselves but for others, and what are the implications of that. When we don't speak up, it creates a hole in our soul like trauma, and this is a joy killer. And I use the analogy that it's like a basket, that instead of catching the water in the basket, because of these holes in our soul, we're not able to really capture and maintain joy. Okay, so let me just share with you backstory now of how I stumbled upon this soul work and how it has evolved over time. It was back in 2003. Well, let me share something first before I do that. Recently, my son sent me a television. He's really excited about mommy getting this TV, that he want me to watch all my preaching and different things on this TV. But the TV been sitting in the box for weeks. And every time I look at this box, I'm like, why am I not putting up this TV? And it finally dawned on me that it's been 13 years since I watched television. Yes, 13 years since I've watched television. And I've been the talk of the town where my friends are like, oh, you need to know what's going on in the world. What if something is happening down the street, like there's a robber or something? I would have no clue. And I've always just kept my stance and say, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. I'll be okay. Everything will be well. I'm okay with not watching television. And I think it's because I remember 13 years ago when I made that decision. So imagine from 2013 to now 2023, how much I have done and accomplished. But this is how it got started. In 2013, my son went into the Air Force. He left home, and his presence left a gap at home where me and my daughter, we were like, what do we do? It's like we felt like a fish out of water. So in trying to fill the void, we start watching a lot of television. And so we got hooked on TV. We were watching series after series, especially Scandal. And I remember in one episode, it was so intense and it was so attention grabbing that, it was just like our chest was pounding, wanting to know what's going to happen. And when it just stopped for commercial, it was like to be continued. And we were like, oh my gosh. And we both looked at each other and say, this is addiction. This is addiction. And so now they coined a term for that, binge watching, right? Okay, but that was that moment that I realized that I was spending too much time watching television. And not only did I realize I was spending too much time watching television, but some of those images, those negative images, those negative messages were triggering me. And I felt it through the tension I had inside, that something was going on inside of me, but I had no clue what it was at that time. And so I realized, I said, you know what? There's something happening. The images that I'm seeing, the messages, the negative messages I'm seeing is doing something to me. That means that there's something inside of me that I need to attend to. And I realized afterwards how the media and entertainment is such a distraction, especially for persons like myself at that time, having so much unresolved issues. But that entertainment is an external entertainment that distracts me from really dealing with the real entertainment is to deal with my issue, the real trauma that is inside of me. That's what I should have been entertained with, not by this external thing. I personally feel like all this entertainment here is a big distraction on so many levels, and I still feel that way up to today. Now, that was the first thing that grabbed my attention. The second thing I want to point out is at the time, I was not in the church. I was not in the church. I think I had just started like entertaining the idea of going back to church. I had surrendered my life back to Christ, but I had not found a church home, right? I knew that I was being spiritually led. I knew that the hand of God was on my life because there were so many miracles happening at that time. I was being led, and the miracles, so many things were pointing to the fact, to my understanding and help to shape or increase my faith that I know that God's hand is on my life. However, I wasn't in the church to learn anything about the soul. And even as a believer, even a believer now, a couple years now, there's still not a whole lot of conversation being had about the soul. But another indicator for me, when I did find a church home, I realized that I would be so happy in the church, singing and worshiping and really just saturating the atmosphere. It's just saturated with songs and praise. But then after I left church, I was angry. I was very angry. I couldn't capture and hold my joy. Somehow, I couldn't maintain or retain that atmosphere that I felt in the church. I couldn't do that because of all these issues that I had inside that I had not addressed and dealt with. So over time now, just looking back at that moment to where I am now, it's a process. It is a process. It did start out, I think during that time is when I realized I needed additional help. I needed someone to talk to, and that's how I started with therapy. And therapy gave me an opportunity to express myself and to really find someone to talk to about these things that had happened. That young lady, that therapist, wasn't a Christian therapist, and so I found it difficult to share some things with her and to get her response. Well, she didn't have much to say, and it kind of left me in a little limbo there. But a lot of the things I was asking God questions, and this is where it became really real for me when I started asking God questions and He started to answer. So let me just stop right there. I just want to give you that background information. How did I get so interested in the soul and to realize that how important our soul is to our overall health, our overall joy, and really when the Bible says, beloved, I want you to prosper as your soul prosper. And at that time, my soul was far from prospering. So in the next couple sessions, I'm going to share with you how the Lord helped me to understand the soul. So I just want you to stick with me. As I said, ask questions, share the video. I would really appreciate it. So until next time, bye for now. I'm very excited about it. So thank you so much for watching and for tuning in. And I will talk to you next time. Bye for now.